Timberwolves and suddenly are hanging by a thread to hold on to the number one seed in the Western Conference. What happened in Minnesota? Why the second and third quarters are so miserable? And what's happened to the Jazz? How concerned should we be? The Utah Jazz fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves. We're talking about it on POSTCAST. Hi, I'm David Locke. This is POSTCAST. It is brought to you by our friends at Grip 6 Belts. The promo code Locked On gets you 15% off the Utah company Grip 6, the best belts that are out in the market. I've got my Grip 6 on today. Didn't give us luck to a win, but it is still the best belt you can get anywhere in the market with no flaps, no holes, no bulk. It's the Grip 6 belt. Also brought to you by the Big Yellow Bag, BigYellowBag.com, Biograss, and the great yard for your yard. Make it beautiful. Sorry, I'm just out of sorts. That's just a crappy loss by the Jazz. Back-to-back games, the Jazz fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And an absolute replay of what happened here in Salt Lake City on Saturday. We didn't do a postcast, and evidently we didn't need to because we can just talk about this game twice. The Jazz lead by 18 in the first quarter. They hit 7 threes in the first quarter. They go 2 of 25 in the middle quarters, and they get absolutely out blasted in the middle two quarters, outscored by the Timberwolves 32-14 in the second and 32-23 in the third, outscored 66-37 in the middle two quarters. They battle back, but frankly, down 10 in the fourth quarter, you don't win very often. In fact, teams that are down 10 lose almost all the time. In fact, the teams that lead by 10 are 687 and 51. So that really rally at the end is pretty slim. I think that, the takeaway I think has to be on the real end of things here, and has to be where I think the concern is that the Jazz have been the healthiest team in the NBA this year. They avoided COVID protocol to their credit. They avoided injuries until Donovan. And now suddenly you face a healthy Minnesota Timberwolves team who, for only the 15th time in their franchise over the last 2 years, has had D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns on the floor together. They're now 8-7 in those games, and the Jazz can't beat them twice in a row when they're at full strength and we're off a little bit. Well, what we've been doing all year is being at full strength while everyone else is off. And so the question, I don't think, leaves you here of whether or not, the Jazz aren't legitimate or this or that. It's the Jazz have been healthier than everyone else. So when you start to compare them against the other teams in the league who have not been as healthy, that takes away a little bit of why are the Jazz the 1 seed and Phoenix the 2 seed? Because they've been the healthiest teams in the league this year. And that's been a tremendous factor. And now the Jazz don't have that health advantage. And what we just don't know is when Donovan comes back and everyone's at full health and rested up for the playoffs, where this team fits. But what we've learned is that there's just, simply not enough depth offensively to play without Donovan Mitchell these last 2 games against Minnesota with the way they were playing. I think the other aspect, there was a period of tonight's game where literally we're running our offense through George Niang. No offense to George Niang, but because Joe was off and Bojan was off, our second option was George. Now those guys might be gassed because they're getting asked to do a lot without Donovan, and that's the impact of injuries, is that they compound themselves on players. And that's what happens. All right, I'm a little testy because I like it when the Jazz win, and I don't like it when the Jazz lose. And I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of comments that set me off, so I'm going to try to take deep breaths, use my meditation app, Calm. Maybe I'll play. Actually, let's do this. Let's play the calm, soothing music while I take the questions and comments from everyone tonight and see if that will keep me from losing my mind. Yes. I'm going to Calm right now, and I'm playing the Calm Rainbow Sky by Tom Middleton. It's making me calm. And now, wow, it's just making me have to go pee. Because it's, all right, let's do Lake of Stars. We'll do Lake of Stars. Here we go. This is 1 hour long. All right, let's start to the calls with our deep breaths. All right, our first person, Carlos, says the Jazz suck. You're right, Carlos. Thank you so much for coming in with such an intelligent and thought out message. I greatly appreciate it, and I appreciate your fandom. Same old Jazz. Oh, right, like the team that makes the playoffs every single year. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry that you have to root for a team that wins over 50 games every year. You're right. It's so disappointing. Oh, I'm in my happy place. Incredibly concerned. Such a bad loss, says TJ Hartman. Yeah. If we have to go to the playoffs without Donovan Mitchell, we're not going to win a series. Like, you're right. And the reason we have the 1 seed is because we've been healthier than everyone else in the NBA. Like, we've been really, really good and really fabulous and really healthy. And right now we're not. And these last 2 games are, you know what? I agree with you, Colton Thompson. This is pretty disappointing. And it is too bad because we had the number 1 seed wrapped up kind of if we'd won both these games and then played Phoenix up 2 or 3. And instead, it's going to we might lose the number 1 seed. And so you're right. It is very, very disappointing. I'm just in my happy place. Thank you to the call map. Hello. I am concerned about the live ball turnovers over the last 2 games. They are very athletic. When you don't have Donovan who can just beat guys, and you really have to do it with ball movement. I thought the Jazz did a great job early. They came out, they moved it. It was popping everywhere. They played with tempo, and that kind of fell apart as the night went on. And the live ball turnovers are a problem, and Minnesota got out in the passing lanes. Tonight they only had 7. The other night they had 14, so it wasn't as big a concern. Quinn just got outcoached at the last 2 possessions. Championship teams don't lose these games twice in a row. Ryan, you are exactly right. We are not a championship team without Donovan Mitchell. You're 100% right. The last 2 possessions, Quinn got outcoached. So let's see. That's the Mike Conley 3 on the inbound pass that he makes, and the D'Angelo Russell back cutting because Rudy Gobert screws up a switch. Like, that's the head coach's fault? Okay. Because I'm listening to Lake of Stars. So I think that's fine. I'm having fun. You're supposed to be laughing because otherwise we're going to all cry after this loss. Are these blowouts catching up to us? We're not great in late close games. So I actually think we were pretty good tonight. If you look at the numbers, we're down 5, right? Like, you really lose close game. We didn't lose, by the way. Like, let's make sure we're clear on this. We lost when we're down 10 with 5, 6, 7 minutes to play. That's when we lost. All the stuff we're going to talk about at the end here, the recency bias of what we remember late in the back cut by D'Angelo Russell, certainly. But, like, you really lose this game because you're down 10. Like, we should never be down 10 with 7 minutes left. We should never be outscored 66-37 in the middle of the game. Like, that's where you lost this game. The D'Angelo Russell back cut, yes, it's brutal, and Rudy missed it. Like, that's a mistake by Rudy. Conley switched. Rudy's got to not switch. Now, the only thing would be is if in the huddle they decided they were switching 1 through 4, but that's not very common. In those circumstances, it's usually what's called a blackout, which is everybody switches. So Rudy got caught up in trying to not let Towns hit a 3 and left D'Angelo Russell off that pick. And I'm going to guess Rudy blew that one. Just seems like, you know what? I mean, this is the second time this has happened, actually. Bojan and Royce the other night on that interchange where Royce gets caught for that little stutter step when Bojan swings by him and they lay it up and in and beat him on that in the Laker game. So that's twice late in games where the Jazz did not execute correctly defensively. Hope they change the way they play. I'm very embarrassed about how they play like this again. When they play like this, it's very concerning. Shots not going in, miscommunication on defense. Love my grip 6 pelt. Thank you, Steven. You made me laugh. All right, you win. I'm being like condescending jerk with my little calm app, and you just made me laugh on a night where I'm sour. I'm not being condescending. I'm just being, that's not the right word. I'm sour. I don't like to lose either. So, yeah, I mean, going 2 of 25 in the middle of the game is a little strange. What did we finish on the night? 28% from three? Is that what we finished? I mean, that's just not like, it's not, we're not going to win if we don't have Donovan, and we're not going to win if we go 28% from three. I mean, and if it turns out in the playoffs that we can't get our 3-point shots off and we can't make them because we don't have enough window to get them, then we're not going to win playoff games either, because we're going to win playoff games by making threes. That's how this team's been built. And if it turns out that when we get to the playoffs, athletic teams are closing out to us, putting this kind of pressure on us, and we can't get the rhythm shots, then we're in a lot of trouble. That's true. If that's what actually is the case here, that these physical, long, athletic defenders got into us, guarded us at 35, 40 feet, blew up our rhythm so we couldn't move the ball to get the shots we wanted to, that's a problem. And if you start thinking Patrick Beverley, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Serge Ibaka, Marcus Morris, that's why I don't want to play the Clippers. Because that's what the Clippers will do to us. The Clippers will get all 5 guys into us at 30 feet other than Zubac. When he's in the game, he'll hang back. Everyone else can be up in our grill the whole time, busting us up, forcing us to put the ball on the deck, force Clarkson to play one-on-one, and we're going to lose the rhythm on our threes and have a hard time. And the Lakers play it a little differently. The Lakers play it, they're just mammoth. They're just long and they're huge and they cover ground, but they don't get up on you the same way. They have incredible scheme defensively. That's not easy either. Luckily, I don't think Golden State, I don't think Portland, I don't think Dallas, I don't think Memphis maybe a little bit, but they don't have enough offensive juice to get us. I don't think any of the first-round teams can do that to us. I'm sorry, but championship contenders don't lose back-to-back games after leading by 17 and both to the team with the worst record in the league. Pathetic! Capitalized! This team is very weak mentally. If something goes wrong, they blame the refs and not themselves. They haven't played well in a very long time. Number 1 seed is gone. I think they could be tougher mentally. I'll agree with that. I'll actually give you a little there. Right? Like, I mean, does the 3-1 loss to the Denver Nuggets come back and rear its ugly head and zap this team of its confidence? One thing that Quinn has been trying to do all year, Monty Williams doing the same thing in Phoenix. This is a really interesting, I'll leave you with this note. This has been an extra long show today. But I'll leave you with this. I think this is the really interesting thing for both Phoenix and Utah this year. They've both been healthier than anyone else. That's why they're on the top of the standings. Neither of them have any playoff success in their back pocket they can rest on. You think Kawhi Leonard's worried about the regular season? You think LeBron's worried about the regular season? You think, no. Anthony Davis, no, they're not, right? They're not worried about it. You think Steph Curry's worried about it? No. They have backs in their back pocket, in the back of their mind, they got playoff success. We don't have that. Phoenix doesn't have it. So both those teams have been grinding as hard as they can to get their seed, to gain that confidence in the regular season so that they have that confidence going into the postseason. And both of them might be working toward empty more so than the other teams late in the season. That's going to be interesting. The bummer, by the way, is the 1 seed gives you like 7 days off to get rested and get healthy. The 2 seed may not give you quite as much time. So we'll see. Hopefully we can hold on to it. But the big one now, hey, we're going to find out a lot. Donovan won't be there, so we're going to have to play the Suns without Donovan too. So that's, frankly, that's it. Like, they're going to be healthier than we are in that game probably. Though they're missing 2 guys, and they went to New York and won tonight, so give them credit. All right, that wraps us up. There's an essay here. Should I finish with this essay? What's this essay? What a BS loss. Quinn just said, well, they showed up to play and played well and got the win. So why didn't we show up ready to play? You must not want that 1 seed, fellas. Quinn won't get coach of the year if you follow the 2 seed. You didn't need Donovan. He's still going. He's still rolling. What else did he have to say? Where was it? You don't need Donovan to beat Minnesota. Get your crap together and show up and act like you want to respect you deserve. No excuses. You shouldn't have lost this game. Don't fall apart in the playoffs. Win or go home. Boom! Yeah, whatever. See ya.